Happy hump day. Good morning. Sorry, I when I scheduled this thing, I did it very quickly. And so I clicked PM, unfortunately. Obviously, it's AM, scheduled for 11:30 AM Central Standard Time, not PM. So I apologize for any confusion. Todd Jorgensen. Good morning to you, my friend. Good morning, Ed Homewood, my friend. Ian, greetings from the UK. New to your channel and loving every minute of it. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate that. Usually we get a fair number of UK brothers and sisters in here. Very cool. Scott Baylor, good morning. Nice to see you. Good to see you, Scott. Brian Romska saying hello. Morning from New Jersey. Really enjoy the content. Thank you. If y'all can hit the like button. We have 125 people in here, which is awesome. I thought we wouldn't have as many. So please hit the like button. It helps out the channel and me. I need a lot of external validation to make myself feel important. Wesley Fletcher, just use the 24-hour clock. Hey, yeah, I know it, buddy. I know it. Listen, I'm still not running on all cylinders from the trip, and actually picked up kind of a nasty cold the last couple of days. So yesterday I was not feeling it, man. But even today I'm still under the weather. I went and got some Mucinex though, so hopefully that'll kick in here fairly quickly. Yummy. Surviving the heat. Yeah, Stan, I try not to go outside. Like, this is, if I go outside, like, I start the car before I go out there and everything. So I really try to stay inside as much as I can. Ed Holmwood, $10. Have a cup of coffee. Thank you, Ed, very much. I need to do I've got 2 goals for August. One is to create a new t-shirt design and coffee cup design. I'm going to do that. So hopefully we'll have some cool coffee mugs and t-shirts to wear. I don't want to ruin it though. It's hot in Austin. You're right. I just looked at the temperature. Actually, it was so absurd that I took a screenshot of it and sent it to a friend last night, and I'll show it to y'all. Here we go. This is what the temperature looks like for the next 10 days here. And it was so, like, it's almost like a joke. So anyway, it's going to be hot. Finland. What's up, Jari? JP? I'm just going to call you JP. Olympia, Washington. Can't believe the cheap audio man isn't going to review the Ween Pro Plus. Yeah, I am. I wanted to talk about that because there was some confusion. Like, I made that video, number one, because I had a bunch of cool stuff, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of do a, I don't know, preview of all the stuff. It just turned out that all the stuff that I had to review is higher end or more higher end than what I usually review. And then I just thought it would be cool to be like, hey, August is going to be kind of not so cheap audio. But yeah, I've actually talked to Weem. They're sending me Weem Pro Plus. It's going to be here soon, any day. So yeah, not really changing anything. If maybe changing things to expand more expensive stuff to come in, because, you know, at this point I've got, I think, enough experience to be able to intelligently talk about more expensive stuff too. And, you know, it'll be held to a much higher standard than the more affordable stuff. So anyway, yeah, that's really what the purpose of that video was. But I did get some calls and comments about, and a lot of people unsubscribed because I think they thought that I wasn't going to be reviewing more affordable audio anymore. And that's my fault because I must have not made it clear. So anyway, yeah. Good morning from a fellow Nebraskan, an ex-nuke. Holy cow, Chris. That's a lot. It's a lot of similarities there. It's very cool. What part of Nebraska are you from? Man, we got a whole bunch of comments in here. Much love from Scotland. What up, Gary? That's a beautiful picture, man. I love that picture. That's very nice, man. Beautiful family. Hot in Texas? Come on. Hey, we got someone from India. Loving the channel from New Delhi. Tim Bennett. I wouldn't have figured if I looked at your name, you'd be in New Delhi. Very good, though. Oh, man, yeah. Some people were so mad based on not knowing the whole story, which is always funny to me. I didn't even read the comments, and not because, like, I knew it was going to be a circus, but I didn't read the comments because, like, I didn't have time. Like, I've been trying to keep my head above water since before we left for vacation. So I was doing multiple videos a day, and then we went on vacation, and then I wore myself out on vacation, come back, videos straight away when I get back, and then I get sick. So anyway, I mean, and it's not like there's not a lot of benefit from me going into the comments, which is really sad because the majority of the comments are really positive, and I love interacting with folks in the comments. But then there's just, there's the garbage comments, and then that negatively affects me, and everybody says, well, don't worry about that. It's different when you're actually doing this for a living and you read like some of these comments, and the problem with a lot of the comments is how unreasonable the people commenting are. So they'll just make a statement that is categorically false, and if you reply to it, then you're just kind of giving them air, and then so it never works out. So me being in the comments never really makes me feel better and makes me want to make more content. It just pretty much like always saps my strength. So if I think something's going to be a crap show, then I usually don't go in the comments. All right. Who else do we have? I personally am glad you have decided to broaden your reviews. Your neighbor from Oklahoma. Well, thanks, Patrick. And like, why wouldn't I? I mean, if I don't know, if I'm not familiar with the more expensive stuff, then how can I intelligently talk about the more affordable stuff? I mean, that makes sense, right? I think that should make sense. Plus, it's kind of fun, right? Even though I'm not in the market to buy a Ferrari, sometimes I like to watch a video on a Ferrari. Yeah, so, yeah. Many don't get that. Enjoy your vids coming from 1 hour north of Seattle. Go Hawks. I used to live out there in the Navy. In the Navy. It's like the Navy was a forest or something. No, I was based out of there. It's okay to review the expensive stuff because they will be cheap one day used on eBay. That's true. And cheap's really relative, right? I mean, somebody could have a cheap, like, private flight, chartered flight. Oh, it's cheap. It's cheap chartered flight. Still could be like $100,000, but it's cheap comparative. I don't know. Maybe they're running a sale. I want to see more high-end stuff. Not really interested. Super cheap gears. You know what's funny is like most of my patrons aren't really into cheap audio. Most of them are into, more expensive or vintage audio or high-end audio. So yeah, this channel, cheap is just the name, right? I mean, it's more than that. It's an audio community, but people get upset. Your channel, your rules. Review what you want to. This channel is the best in my opinion. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Oh, Chris is from Fremont. Very cool. I grew up in Geneva. Went to Geneva High School. I didn't grow up in Geneva. I grew up in Strang, but nobody knows where Strang is. Nobody knows where Geneva is either. But yeah, went to high school in Geneva. Okay, we already covered that one. Hour and a half southwest of Chicago. Very cool, Jeremy. Solid beard. New Jersey. I think moving a bit upscale in equipment reviews is a good idea. Many of your subscribers want to see what the next level offers. Yeah. It's funny though. I cannot ever make everybody happy because when I review a cheap Chinese stuff, I get the comments that this is garbage. This is throwaway, disposable. You should just save up and get something used. Okay. So then I review something that's, a little bit more expensive. And then I get the comments, oh, you could just get X, Y, and Z from a Chi-Fi company. And it would be like, I think I did the Vanatu Transparent Zero Plus, the new powered speaker, which are remarkably amazing. If you had a subwoofer, these things are crazy good. And I had them in my living room. And if you watch the video, it's almost comical to see how small these speakers are in comparison to like the subwoofer I had them hooked up to. So that is not a cheap product. It comes in, I think, around 450. I think so. Powered speakers 450, but they come from a US company, which completely 100% designed US design. So it's not like somebody went to China and said, I'll have one of those, one of those, one of those, one of those, and put it in that standard, enclosure. No, this is designed from the ground up, manufactured in China. Anyway, great. They are so awesome. I love them so much. And then of course in the comments, someone's like, well, if you just get this, this, and this, it's way cheaper and it's way better. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure you don't know it's way better because only about 3, 4, 5 people have actually heard these, and I'm one of them. So how do you know that it's going to be better? Anyway, there's no winning ever, no winning, and that's okay. I get it. That's the job that I signed up for. But yeah, it's just frustrating sometimes. It's not frustrating. It's just like I know what it's going to be like, and that's why I think a lot of big channels don't spend a lot of time in the comments because it just sucks the life out of you. I like value in audio. Sometimes that's cheap, sometimes it's not. I think you're doing great. Don, I think that's a great point because you look at stuff like, I don't know, let's say the Emotiva DR1 differential monoblocks. They're not cheap. They come in at over $1,000 a piece, I think. So to get a pair of those, I think it's around north of $2,000. Now, someone can look at that and say, that is not cheap. However, when you compare the amount of power that you're getting spec for spec wise and the sonic characteristics of those amps, that $2,000, $2,200 set of monoblocks together is rivaling things multiples of its price. And you can look at like the RMC 1L, which is a surround sound processor. So when you have all of that, like when you take that into consideration, it is cheap compared to something else. And that's what I think people miss out on is they think cheap is X number and below. But cheap really only refers to a comparison to something else. In comparison to something else. So yeah. Cool. Oh, hold on. I gotta look at a text. This text is for a play date for one of the kids. So like whenever that happens, I'm all over it. All right. Anyway, all right. Confusing. All right. Sorry about that. Just got my first 7.2 surround cheap. Also ordered my first 2 pair of IEMs cheap. Got to learn about tips. Yeah. Tips are important, especially for bass. Hi, Randy. I know where Strang is. From Wilbur, Nebraska. You're from Wilbur? My goodness. I think I had some like cousins in Wilbur or something crazy. As long as we are paying with peanuts and not getting monkey business, all is fine. Yeah, I like that. I have an MC 700. I would like to upgrade the display. Is it possible to read over 3 feet away? MC 700. I'm not sure what that is. MC 700. Can you tell me the brand or the manufacturer on that? That's not a Mac, is it? Randy, good morning from Chicago. Keep doing your thing. There is a value in all cost categories. Thank you. Thank you for bringing a variety of flavors to us, not only to consider, but enjoy and be aware of. Thank you, Ramon Delgado. I always love seeing you here. I think, Ramon, I think you are one of my admins still in here. Because when we first started the live streams, there would be all sorts of crazy comments coming in from like non-audio people. And I think, Ramon, I think you're an admin, so you can zap things. I just got the Civga you recommended, and they are super fun to use. Thank you for recommending it, good sir. You're welcome. Yeah, those are cool. They're built really well too for their price. I like them. Pretty lightweight. Fat fingers, sorry. V3, etc. Compared to expensive items doing the same job. The one thing about like that holds me back from not just like being all chi-fi all the time is like longevity. Like I don't know how long stuff will last. Whereas like if I get a Yamaha or an Emotiva or something like that, chances are this thing's lasting 5 years minimum. Like with some of the tri-fi stuff, because it's so small, because you know it is throwing off heat in a very small package, like there could be failure. It could be more prone to failure. So that's the one thing that keeps me from just being like, you should always buy tri-fi. Is I don't know what the longevity is, and I don't use it all the time, right? The thing that I've used the most from any tri-fi company is the V3s. But there's a lot of stuff that, you know, I'll do the review on, I'll listen to it for a month or so, and then it goes in a box or I give it away. So I'm not putting these things through their paces every day for a year or two. So that's one of the things that concerns me about some of these little Class D amplifiers. Just because the size and heat. Hey, good afternoon from Ann Arbor. What up? Love the channel from Montana. Very nice. Pulled my 45-year-old ADS L500s. Amazed how good they sounded. Old is cheap and good too. I've got a buddy that loves ADS speakers. Loves them. Rainey, how set up a subwoofer 2.0 video just ended a month of my ADC. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I miss any super chats? Let me see here. Excuse me. DZY 1119. Dude, you've got enough subs that these brands are going to send you whatever you want to review. So take advantage of that and play with the expensive stuff. You'd be surprised. Like, I think sometimes if you get to a certain size and you have like a certain, like maybe you haven't been like over the moon about a product, people will stop sending you stuff. Like, and there's certain companies that have never sent me anything. Kef is one of them. They've never sent me anything. Let's see. Who else is a common? Like B&W's never sent me anything. Actually, like Sound United, which is Denon, Polk. I used to have a contact there, but I don't have a contact there anymore. And it's not like they're knocking down my door to send me stuff. So there's a lot of places I don't have contact. Topping has never sent me a thing. iFi won't send me stuff anymore. Now, to be fair, I haven't really asked. I had a bit of a row with them over their streamer. But yeah, you'd be surprised. Like there's certain companies that just don't care about YouTube. I don't think Audio Technica really cares about YouTube that much. Magnapan definitely doesn't care about YouTube. Geneva, Wisconsin? ? No, Geneva, Nebraska. There's probably so many Genevas. I've been to Geneva, the one in Switzerland. I've been to Geneva, Switzerland too. It's much better than Geneva, Nebraska. I like value in audio. Sometimes that's cheap. Sometimes it's not. I think you're doing great. Thank you, Don. Very much. All right. I don't know how many likes we have. We have 264 people in here. If you can, please like this. Ian, hello. Hello to you. Great profile picture. I really want to go back to the UK. That's not me in the avatar pic, by the way. I feel compelled to say that. Oh, that's good. No judgment either way. That is cheap body man wheelbase. I don't know what that means. I love my Kef Q150s, which you recommended. Yeah, so I bought the Q150s and the Q350s, and I bought the Metas. Not the Metas, the LS50. I bought all three of those. Really the beginning of the channel. I did a lot of Kef videos at the beginning of the channel. Ooh, just purchased immaculate out of box Denton 80s. 165 pounds. Wow, those speakers are awesome for 165 pounds. For 500 pounds, I think they're awesome. They're built so well. It's really tough to argue with how well they're built. We've got a bunch of folks from the UK. Hey, Ben, how you doing? Get you on your motorcycle? Is that a Honda? SMSL SU1 DAC. Sorry, it is amazing for 80 bucks. Love it. It is really good. Actually, I think it's right here. Yep. Right here. There we go. I love this thing too. I hope it lasts a long time. I hope it works for forever. I think it's great. It's great. What about Audiolab 7008? That's another good one. So I had talked to Audiolab for a while. They said they're going to send me a product. Sometimes with companies, you have to sign like an agreement that says, hey, if something happens to the product while it's in while I have it, then I'll pay whatever. And they want me to pay like retail for it. And so here's another thing. Like if you sign an agreement, and sometimes if you're a YouTuber, you'll get what's called accommodation pricing. So like, let's say I review something and I love it and I want to buy it. A lot of times I'll be able to buy that at a reduced price. So not at retail, which makes sense, right? It's actually used because someone else probably listened to it and then it got sent here. And then also, since I guess we're in the industry or whatever, we get discounted pricing. So with Audiolab, I had gone back and forth, and they want to charge me retail if something happened. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I mean, I have no problem signing this because chances are I might not want to keep it, or if I do want to keep it, just put accommodation pricing on there and I'll sign that thing. I think I did sign it, but whatever happened, something happened and I never heard back from him. So I've never gotten any Audiolab stuff in. So yeah, but for a while I was going to. Oh, look at this. Tech, Med, Rainer, Richter. 10 euros. Thank you so much. Grab a cup of coffee. Nice cup of coffee. Greetings from Germany. Greetings to you. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Oh, yummy. Greetings from Colombia. Very nice. Montejo, North Carolina. Very cool. So glad to see you live. Zachary F., what is a DAC for? A DAC is a digital to analog converter. So it takes ones and zeros from something like cell phone, computer, laptop, television, CD player, streamer, and then it converts that into an analog signal. So in something like this little guy right here, this is an SU1. So on the back, you have inputs right here. So this is a USB input. So you could use something from your computer. This is an optical input. Most televisions have an optical. Most DVD players, Blu-ray, things like that, most of them have an optical output. Most streamers have an optical output. And then you have a coaxial input, which looks like an RCA, but is actually a digital connection. So what one would do is take maybe, cell phone, and then they would hook it up here. And the reason is because all these products, TVs, laptops, computers, they already have a DAC in there. They are already converting digital to analog because you cannot get music from a speaker without it being in an analog format. So eventually it's getting there in some way, shape, or form. But the quality of it, so here's a great example. The Amazon Echo Link. Okay. It plays music, right? Speaker. It's not great, but you turn it on. It has a 3.5 millimeter jack, and 3.5 millimeter jack is an analog connection. So you can take that and put it into a pair of powered speakers or into an entire system and stream music from your Echo Link into a better system. The caveat or the gotcha on that, though, is the DAC inside the Echo Link is terrible. So it doesn't sound very good at all. That's why you would take something like this and connect a computer or something to it, and you're going to get much better sound out of an external DAC. Usually, there are some outliers, but usually you're going to get way better sound out of that than you would out of the internal DAC in a computer, tablet, cell phone, television, etc. I hope that makes sense. All right, finally kind of live. Hey, from Alberta, Canada. Hey. Shout out from rock and roll capital, Cleveland, Ohio. What turntable do you prefer using, the Metallica or the other one? I enjoy using the Metallica one better just because I like the looks of it. Excuse me. U-turn. U-turn's okay. The problem is I didn't sell. I traded my Fluence for a vintage table for one of my patrons. And so I don't have the Flu. Actually, I miss having my Fluence. That was always like the easiest one, and it has a removable head shell, so it was always super easy to switch out. My Metallica table has a removable head shell too. Thank you. Great explanation. Thank you. There's a lot of confusion around DACs, and I know we throw it around like, yeah, get a DAC, and that doesn't help like folks new into the hobby that don't know what a DAC is. So, yeah, I'm glad I could help. Ed, sometimes things are done for marketing reasons, especially back in the day. Yeah, Ed was in the industry. Ever use Hagel integrated amps? I haven't had one. No, never had one. I know a lot of people love Hagel. Yes, I have Fluence RT85. It's a really good turntable for the price. Yeah, that Ortofon 2M Blue, the acrylic platter. Very good. I'm thinking Pakistani socks and stuff. All right, I must have missed something on that one. What about in-wall speakers for living room system? WAF is a major issue. Yeah, I helped pick out products for one of my buddies home theater, and he ended up getting a bunch of Polk in-wall stuff. I know JBL makes a bunch of in-wall stuff. Personally, that's not what I would go for my, LCR, left, center, and right. But I think outside of that, I think in-wall is good, especially like Atmos and maybe some surround speakers. I think in-wall is pretty cool. That's just me though. Like I would never go in-wall for LCR. But I'm probably going to be finishing out. I have like an attic space that's above my garage, but it's already wired for like power and stuff like that. So I just need to finish it out. I won't be, but me and a buddy will be. And so I'm probably going to put in ceiling Atmos speakers up there. I'll probably use Emotiva. I think they have some. Holy cow, we got some rolling in. Room acoustics on a budget would be a cool topic too. It's funny you mentioned that. Because I have these in. These are tone-in acoustic panels. They're like, I think they're $150 for a pair. I have no idea if that is a good price or a bad price. But, you can get them on Amazon. So, yeah, I've got some. The problem is, like, I guess you should treat your first reflection point, and that's if you take a mirror, go along your side walls, and then when you can see the speaker from your sitting or listening position, that's your first reflection point, and you're supposed to put some stuff up there. I don't like one of those is a fireplace, and the other one is like a wall with a mirror and like a hutch right there. So anyway, I'm playing around with it. I have a DAC amp on my PC, but sometimes want to go wireless. Here Bluetooth isn't great for Windows. Is there a Bluetooth you recommend? So LDAC is a Bluetooth codec, which in theory, there's actually a newer one, but most devices don't have them. LDAC is, in theory, the one that can pass the most data. And most people would consider if you can pass more data, then you're going to get more music and less compression. But you have to have both devices have LDAC. So you'd have to have a computer sending out LDAC, and then your receiver would have to accept LDAC too. I believe it's a Sony codec. So I think a lot of Android phones have LDAC included. But if you want to go wireless, I mean, I think it would probably just be easier to get. I don't know if I have one. I used to have one laying up here. Is just to get a Weem Mini for like $80, and then you can actually stream losslessly, so you can stream like bit perfect. And it's got a little DAC in it. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And then you can put that on whatever you have, and then you don't have to worry about your computer at all, and you can control everything from an app on your phone. And like, to put it into perspective, like, it also does AirPlay. To put it in perspective, like, an AirPlay receiver used to be $130, and some Bluetooth receivers used to be like well over $100. So to be able to get a device that actually does bit perfect streaming, lossless streaming for $70 or $80 that's amazing. I talk about Weem a lot, but it's a great product. Floor construction is a major issue for speaker sound. Concrete, wooden, raised flooring. That's a good point. All my stuff is carpeted on wood flooring, I think. Now that you're listening to higher end equipment, are you going to play around snake oil cables? Actually, snake oil cables did a manufacturing run for me, and it was my first RCA cables. So I had my logo on them and everything. I think you're not probably talking about snake oil cables. There's a company out of California named Snake Oil Cables. I think what you're talking about is probably higher end cables. I have some higher end. I mean, I've got some Audio Quest cables that I use in the living room, but no, I'm not going to ever do like a dedicated. I've done one dedicated cable video, and people lost their minds. But my point was, like, AudioQuest has some fairly affordable line, like their entry level line, and it's good construction, and they have a 30-day like guarantee. So, like, first of all, like, I'm not here to tell you what's best for you. So I'm not going to tell anybody this is better than that. I'll say this is better. I personally wouldn't buy this because X, Y, or Z, or I would get this over this because of this. But I'm not going to sit here and be like one of those guys that says this is better, this is garbage, nobody should buy this. People want to spend money on cables, they can spend money on cables. Whether or not they make a sonic difference is up to the person listening. But I'm also not going to go out and say it's all placebo. These people are wrong, because who am I to say? Yeah, that's pretty arrogant for me to say. This is wrong. Everybody's wrong, and the people that take that stance, I think, are filled with hubris. I don't like people that say they're right and other people are wrong. is a lot more nebulous than that. Is my Wharfdale Diamond 12.2 would be great for IEMA A08 Pro amp. I can't remember what the sensitivity is on the 12.2s. The 12.2s, if I remember, are a little bit thin in the bass and a little bit mid forward. So A08 Pro, I think, was pretty thick on the bottom. It could be a really good, that could be a good combo. And the A08 Pro has tone controls. So yeah, I would try it on him for sure. Oh, Simon's in here? Where's Simon? Anyway, Simon's my boy. Here we are. Simon Hackshaw, my boy. I have a Magni Modi V3 and use Apple Music and 10 HomePods. Is there any reason to get a Weem Pro over the Mini for me specifically? Weem Pro over the Mini for me specifically. No, not really. I mean, the Weem Pro can be used kind of as a little bit of a preamp, but if you are just streaming from it and you're going into an external DAC, there's no real reason. Although, if you want to use Rune, I think the Weem Pro is Rune ready. I don't think the Weem Mini will work with Rune outside of like, it won't work natively. You'd have to use it over AirPlay. So, yeah, if it's working for you, then you don't need anything. You don't need the Pro. But if you want like input switching, things like that, then the Weem Pro is the way to go. At least in my opinion. Talking cable seems to be akin to bringing up religion. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, people go nuts about it. Yes, I'm at higher end cables, but just for your own personal exploration. Not really. I'll just tell you the reason why is like I have a limited amount of time, so I want to spend that like on stuff that I think makes bigger differences. I think if you're into cables and like you've curated a system to the point where you like want to take it you want to take it as far as you can, and people can start playing with cables and stuff like that. But for me, like it doesn't like I will use a solid pair of cables, but I am not ever trying to identify if that cable is making any sonic improvements over anything. Now, I will try to identify like if I'm getting like a ground loop or something like that or interference, and I've had crappy RCAs that have like been picking up a bunch of noise and stuff. So, but outside of like trying to reject grounding issues and external noise, that's as far as I take it with cables. I did do a thing about power cables, and I did hear a difference. But I was able to consistently pick out the difference, but I was wrong in picking out which cable I thought was a higher end cable, which is kind of funny. But yeah, an Eversolo DMP A6 versus Atoll MS120 comparison deck would be interesting to watch if you can get one. I have the DMP A6. I don't have the Atoll, but I really consider the DMP A6 a streamer with a streamer first, DAC second. So I'm actually getting a blue sound. I don't have a blue sound anymore, but one of my patrons is sending me in a blue sound, and I'm going to compare it to the Eversolo. So far, so good though. There's some things as far as like the streaming software goes that I wish were different, but the Eversolo it's a very solid device. Kind of pricey at $860, but you're getting a full DAC and you're getting a streamer. So there is value there, but that's why I'm getting the blue sound back in, because close to similar pricing. Simon Hackshaw, $10. Thank you, sir. Half a cheeseburger for you, and greetings to you, Randy. I did say hi, but you're very busy today. Take care and all the best, brother. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Simon, for being here. Simon's longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel. And I love the guy. Christopher Clemente. I can't afford expensive audio hardware. In fact, I almost always buy used 90% of the time. wonder if this channel is going to be less relevant to me. I hope not. I really enjoy your reviews. I hope not too. I mean, it depends. Like, I think my channel is probably not relevant to you at all if you're buying a bunch of used stuff, unless that used stuff is stuff that I've talked about before. But like, the answer is always in the middle. Hold on, baby. Oh, sorry, my daughter's got some slime. Sweetie, I'm online right now. Yeah, very good slime. I like it. All right, I'll be up there in a second. So, like, I think people have a tendency to think in all or nothing. Like, I have done 750 plus videos. 750 plus videos. That means if you watched a video every day, one of my videos every day, it would take you over 2 years to watch all my videos. Over 95% of those videos talk about products that are less than $1,000. 95%, which means I have, I don't know, what's 10% of that's 75. I probably less than 5% talk about things. So if my channel is not relevant to you, I get it. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's out there. And 95% of it is stuff that's less than $1,000. And going forward, not all of the videos are going to be on products above $1,000 anyway. So a year from now, maybe 6% of the total videos are going to be on products that are $1,000 or more. So I still think that's a fairly good batting average. Whether or not I'm relevant to you, that's, up to you. But if you're buying used stuff and I'm not covering that, this is also about an entertainment and information. If you're just here to like watch the videos and then go and buy something based on my opinion of it, then it probably wouldn't be relevant to you if you're not interested in that. But like if you're here to kind of get entertained, informed, maybe dip your toe into the community or something like that, then I could be talking about air fryers and it could still be relevant to you. Anyway, Chris, hopefully I can be relevant to you. All right, that's it. $1,000 is still cheap in the audiophile world. Yes, but again, that's relevant. Yes, that is. There's perspective there because some people, I can put together a system for under $1,000 that would be killer. But you go into Axpona and you say I want $1,000 amplifier, they're gonna laugh at you, right? So yeah, it's all about perspective, for sure. Seriously funny how 95% isn't good enough for the trolls. I don't know if that guy was a troll, Brian, but I assume it helps the algorithm when they get all pissy though. I'm not sure. If I knew how the algorithm worked, a lot more people would be watching my videos, I think. Yeah, I'm not calling Chris a troll. Okay. If I only watched when I wanted to buy stuff, I could only afford to watch like twice a year. Yeah, my purpose is to entertain and inform. I'm not here to be the best reviewer. I'm not here to like tell people that other products they shouldn't buy other products. I'm here to entertain and inform and build a community. That's what I'm here for. My opinion on the Clips Forte 4s. Oof, I would love to get a pair of Clips Forte 4s in. I heard some in a demo thing, like at a demo room, and I loved them. I really liked the Ford. They were I think the most impressive Klipsch speaker I had heard for my personal taste. I thought they were just spectacular. I'd love to get those in. I think those are like $4 or $5 a pair though. That's another funny thing, right? Like I can talk, like nobody has a problem with me reviewing the Heresies or the Fortes or anything like that. Nobody has a problem with that. But as soon as I review something like MoFi, like the $3,000 Andrew Jones, people lose their mind. And it's so weird how like Klipsch heresy or Klipsch heritage stuff gets a pass. Like for whatever reason, Klipsch stuff will get a pass where anything else won't. I find that I find that an interesting, uh, interesting that people don't really complain when I do a higher end uh, clip video. Do you still want me to send you that hard drive full of DSD? Sure, Ed, that would be cool. You can just hold on to it, dude. I'll pick it up at Exponent next year. Do you have some nice demo rooms in your area? Not really. The one that I saw the clips was in Houston. I was down there on business, and I went. They didn't even have anything in stock. That was weird. Like you go in there, you listen, and then you order, and then it gets drop shipped to you. I thought that was kind of weird. Like they had this huge showroom and everything, and they didn't really have anything in stock. It's weird. Any opinion on the Fozzy BT30D Pro? Love the channel, man. Zara 14, October Sky. Thank you so much. I don't think I'm familiar with that one. So the BT20A Pro, BT30D Pro. I don't think I have that here. I don't. So unfortunately, man, I don't have an opinion on it. I do have an opinion on Fozzy Audio, though. I think they're doing great stuff. MoFi source points are awesome. Yeah, they're pretty impressive. I'm really enjoying them. Nautilus, Randy, I would love to hear your comments. Topping versus SMSL. What are your thoughts about their business perspective and your prediction about their future? I think they're both. I would consider them to be kind of the top tier of the direct to customer Chi-Fi products. I think SMSL has been doing a great job with like their DACs. I think Topping has been doing a great job with their speaker amplifiers from a sonic perspective. I think the LA90 discrete sounds great, but mine started throwing kind of like hiss, almost like a vintage receiver. So I pulled it out of service, and then I think the Topping PA something was a 3255 amp chipset amplifier, and it sounded amazing. But mine then had some issues with some of the TRS connectors. I think if they keep going, they're gonna keep doing well. I also think though that they're getting up in price a little bit. So I think at a certain point, like the argument to get a Topping or an SMSL at a certain point is going to be like harder to justify because it's going to be on par with the other brands that have more pedigree and more history and are going to have better customer service. Like if I have an option, let's just, for instance, let's say Topping is selling an amplifier for $500, or I can get an Emotiva for $500. Even if they're spec for spec, and they're probably not going to be spec for spec because the Emotiva is probably going to be class A, B. Anyway, the point is I'm going to buy the $500 Emotiva all day long over the SMSL because I can contact somebody. So I think SMSL and Topping are doing great things, but I also think in a certain sense they need to stay in their lane because if they continue to go up in price, I think fewer and fewer people, at least I would be making a decision like that. Like I would choose a Cambridge, I would choose an Emotiva, I would choose a Marantz, I would choose a Yamaha, I would choose all those above an SMSL or a Topping, even though they're really good and maybe even sound a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. That's a great question though, and thank you. Gino, super sticker, $10. Thank you, brother. Gino, another long-time supporter of the channel. John Payne, $10. Thank you. Have you ever listened to or have an opinion on Emotiva's outdoor speakers? I have. They're legitimately right there. Now, we had a bit of a mishap on our outdoor porch. And so The only stuff that's left is to put in a window and a door back there. So once that happens, I'm wiring up the Emotiva outdoor speakers, and I would like it not to be 107 degrees. So hopefully end of August, September, it starts to cool down a bit, and then I'll really be able to I'll make a video on those Emotiva outdoor speakers. I'm sure they're great. I mean, I have no doubts that they're going to be awesome. So my opinion on them is they're probably going to be awesome. They're pricey though. They're not cheap, but I've been to the owner of Emotiva's house, and he has them outside, which makes sense. And I listened, and they sounded awesome. So yeah. Chris Dugan, $20. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. John K, $20. Thank you so much. Look at that. $670 within like 2 minutes. You guys are awesome. All right. I apologize. I'm a little tired. I've been just run down since I got back. Randy, I need you to clear house and stock your eBay auctions, both watches and audio equipment. I will. That is on my to-do list to get that done. I'll tell you a quick story. It's kind of a sad story. So I sold a pretty expensive watch on eBay, and it had to go to an authenticator, which eBay has their own authentication services. So it shows up at the authenticator and the box is empty. So someone stole the watch out of the box. And so now I had to deal with eBay because they thought I was trying to like scam the purchaser, which scamming the purchaser by sending an empty box to the authenticator who's going to authenticate the watch before he sends it to the customer is a pretty poor way to try to scam the customer. Because it's probably not going to work. And then I had to deal with UPS. Anyway, I'm not optimistic that I'm going to get. I know I'm not getting the watch back. I'm not optimistic that I'm getting the money back for that watch. So, lesson learned. Terrible thing. It's very interesting because both of these companies are really big and trying to like talk sense into both of them to be like, listen, I sent a watch. Anyway, I'm not optimistic I'm getting my money back. Definitely not getting the watch back. So it's a pretty good scam though, right? Because if you're the UPS guy and you know that this is an authentication place, small box, you know there's a watch in there, rip it open. I'm using phone, so I can't see everything. Do you have an eBay store or just list things here and there? I do have an eBay store. And I usually I have another channel. It's about watches. So I sell mostly watches over there. I usually don't sell hi-fi stuff unless I've purchased it. So all the stuff that gets sent in from like China and stuff, I usually I give that away unless I'm keeping it for reference or something like that. Like I'm not going to sell the SU1 or give it away because it's such a good reference DAC. But so I'll give a lot of stuff away. Anyway, I do sell some stuff on eBay, but right now my eBay store is under review because of this crap going on with the watch. So, yes, I do sell stuff. If you go to the watch channel, there's a link to my eBay store, but there's nothing on it right now. Really like to hear your opinions on some LRS pluses. I would love to get some of those in. I've never listened to any, and I think we have similar tastes in music. Yeah, I've never gotten any, never listened to any. I think if you can put a subwoofer on them and a high pass filter around 80 hertz, I've heard they're spectacular. I work for a shipping company. We find pilfered watch and phone boxes all of the time. Yeah. I'm unimpressed with UPS right now. What do you think of building your own speakers? I think it's a blast. I think there's a bunch of cool kits out there from the likes of CSS Audio, GR Research. You can go to Parts Express, get some Dayton Audio kits, Overnight Sensations. There's a whole bunch of cool kits out there. I think it's a ton of fun. I think it increases understanding of like how a speaker works. And if you have kids or something, ton of fun to do a project like that together. I meant no disrespect if came across. No, Chris, I'm sorry. You're fine, man. You're all good. It's just, yeah, I was probably a little bit sensitive on that question. It's because I hear it all the time. So I probably took it out on you. So I apologize, Chris. Um, yeah, you're all good, man. You're all good. I'm not for everybody, but you're all good. But I'm constantly getting comment like whatever I do is not good enough. And I get it. This is what I've chose to do, but it's just sometimes when you hear stuff like that, I bite back. Erd. It's in the living room. I'm actually planning on a really cool video for the Erd. I think everyone's gonna really like it. Just saw this headline and instantly have to find out more. I got several speakers on your rack. Don, I'm still going to be doing. So there's a little bit of confusion. And put out the video because I have a whole bunch of more expensive stuff to review. I've got the MoFi in the Source Point 8s. Wow, Trevor. I got the MoFi Source Point 8s. I have $1,000 Michelle turntable in. I have the Erd in from Skit. I have an $860 streamer DAC in. So I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the new stuff, some of the videos that are coming soon. And I thought it would be kind of a clicky title to say, is Cheap Audio Man going away? So no, Cheap Audio Man's not going away. The channel is still going to concentrate on affordable things, but we're also going to talk about stuff that some people wouldn't consider to be affordable. And people are always get upset whenever I do anything that they personally don't consider to be cheap. Trevor, $50, 107-degree AC bill assistant. Man, I appreciate that. Whew. Yeah, and when you have a house full of kids, they're like, it's hot out here. I'm like, that's because you're not supposed to sleep till 2. Like, the AC stays cool till 8, and then it doesn't, and it goes up because number one, the temperature goes up, but number two, you're not supposed to be here. You should be out doing something else. Anyway, I appreciate that. People are constantly telling me I need to make it cooler. Like, sit in front of a fan. Like, how hard is it? I've got a fan right here. Get a silent fan, put it in front of you. You get really hot, put down the t-shirt a little bit, put it back on. You'll be cold. I guarantee it. Anyway, weak generation. Weak. Got to drop and get back to work so I can afford it. So I can afford to buy more audio equipment. Been a blast. Thanks, Scott. Good to see you. Chris, you're all good. I appreciate being here. Cheap is relative. We all have we will all find something on the price spectrum. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Don's audio reviews. Anyone want to briefly describe what this headline is about? Is he stopping some kind of stuff? There's an entire video about it, Dan. Yeah. So there's 59 minutes. We touch on it a few times. Have you tried the Sin without a center? What are your impressions? Actually, yes, I have tried a Sin without a center. For music, I actually kind of prefer it without a center. For movies and stuff, I prefer it with a center, which is kind of interesting. I have to dial it in a little bit better to actually get it to sound natural with music running a center channel. There's a lot of reverb and kind of stuff, so I have to like lower the levels a little bit on the center. So yes, absolutely. I've tried it both ways. I want to enhance or to improve my Wharfdale Diamond 12.2. What do you suggest? I'm using IEMA A08 Pro amp. Thanks and love all your reviews. I'll get a subwoofer if you want to enhance that. Because I think that speaker does a great job on mid-range and treble. I'll get a sub. Yeah. think a lot of people consider anything under $1,000 to be very cheap audio gear. Yes, I do too. That's kind of my new level, $1,000, where most stuff's gonna be under. Um, what has been your experience with Tri-Fi longevity? Most of what I bought has broken within a year. That's the thing. I touched on that during the video too earlier on. It's like I don't know. Um, and if it does break within a year, then that's kind of a deal breaker for most people, because at that point it kind of the value proposition goes out the door. Uh, so yeah, I don't know, because when I do a review, I listen to it for about 2 weeks or so, and then I'm done with it. There's certain things like I have the T9 Pro and the V3 that I've used a lot more, so those have been in use a lot longer, but they still aren't running daily, 6 hours a day for a long time. So I couldn't talk about the longevity, unfortunately. So yeah. Uh, cheap adjacent audio man, great stuff. Mark Collier, $1.99. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dan's audio reviews. Oh, he's expanding what he's doing, looking at more expensive products. So he's not really stopping. Fair enough. I just saw the headline and thought he was stopping entirely or taking a hiatus. No, Dan, we're still doing it. We're still going for it every day, packing our lunch, going to work, putting on the gloves, keep making videos. Yeah, we're still going. I was told my system was cheap, and by what you describe, it isn't. LOL, Patrick George. All right, y'all. I appreciate you being here on a Wednesday. Hope you have a great rest of the week. More videos to come. I'll go take a nap because I'm tired, sick. So I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. Be safe. Listen to some music. Watch a movie. Enjoy the rest of your summer. All right. Bye. 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 Bye.